Growing up, I always wanted to do so many things.
I wanted to be a vet.
I wanted to be an actor.
I wanted to be a celebrity by any means necessary.
This is Spike Drop Vegas Heist.
I'm only here for a 2 beat. I don't really care about any other place.
Can't even comprehend what is going on, but I like it.
My name is Freddie Williams. I go by FOW, and this is Wannabe.
How you do? Imagine!
I was born in North Las Vegas. I'm actually the youngest in a family of 4. As a kid in Vegas, I don't think that going to the strip, like going to the city or whatever, was like a really big thing for me. I grew up in the suburbs, so I mean, just skating around, hanging out with the neighborhood friends, going to school, playing games and stuff like that. I would say that when growing up, I kind of wanted to take the route of, going to university and, just going with the normal way of things. But, when I graduated high school, my interest kind of redirected me to the life of an entertainer. And then I ended up getting really busy with gaming and streaming. I was also interested in music and stuff. So I had other hobbies outside of, skating and video games. But I would say that gaming kind of took priority over a lot of stuff. It was the thing that I found myself getting the most enjoyment out of. My brother, my oldest brother, he's 12 years older than me. So he grew up in the 80s. He grew up with old systems like Intellivision, Atari, but in the 90s and stuff, he had the more modern systems like the NES, the SNES. And so as someone born in the late 90s, I got exposure to the old video games. And I think my oldest memory of playing a game was probably Yoshi's Island on the SNES. And I would say that's kind of what got me into gaming to begin with. I specifically remember that game because my brother wasn't a huge fan of his younger siblings playing his games. And I was a little kid, so I'd kind of sneak into his room sometimes and play Yoshi's Island. Back then, around the time that the Nintendo 64 had come out, I found that just the original Super Smash Bros. 64 ended up becoming the game that I would go back to the most. I don't know, it just had a ton of replay value. It was really fun playing as the Nintendo characters that you grew up with, and just being able to fight each other was really fun. You could be really creative with the combos that you made up, and the characters were just super personable as well. But I also grew up playing games like Star Fox 64, F-Zero X. I would say that Nintendo 64 and the GameCube were some of the 2 main systems that shaped my life.
Wait, he's pummeling it out! Okay, oh my God, he still gets it though!
But he does it! And the stage being mobbed right now! FOW, your 2020 Level Up Expo Smash Ultimate Champion!
During high school, I got my name out there playing Brawl. I would travel, and I guess as the years went on and new iterations of Smash came out, I was just playing in those, competing in those, and then that kind of transferred over to I remember I had a friend that moved from Michigan to Vegas, and he started streaming the events. He started streaming the tournaments that we would have in Smash. And, I was pretty much fresh out of high school at this time, and that was new to me. We didn't have streaming back then. It wasn't that accessible. And if you did have streams, it was very rare from very specific populated regions, and the quality was terrible. He showed me a lot of things and a lot of I would say he showed me a lot of what you need to have a stream, pretty much, a good computer, good internet. And I started getting an interest in streaming and really wanted to broadcast, So it went from kind of competing to being I kind of want my own platform where I can express my thoughts or express my gameplay, and that's kind of what it branched out into. I started competing at a very early age, earlier than most people, I would say. I would say roughly when I was around 13, 14, I went to my first tournament. The video doesn't exist on YouTube anymore, but I actually do have a recording of my very first tournament when I was actually in a doubles match, and we played against SK92 and Swell Kel. I'll always remember this. And I ended up 6-stocking them, which pretty much just means that I didn't die at all. And I ended up taking all their stocks, and immediately that got me on the map. The outcome was great. We ended up losing the set, unfortunately. You know, nerves still are a thing that you can't really control that early on. It was fun. I had fun. So like when you're that young, I feel like you really don't have any perception of fear or consequence, you know? So all you have is confidence, cockiness, and ego. So, you know, being at that age, I was like, I'm the best, you know? And as time went on, I eventually started to prove that and did end up becoming best in the state. Starting in Brawl, I've won regional tournaments in the West Coast. Didn't travel too much to the East, but in Smash 4, I was very competitive traveling internationally for those. Pretty much placing in the top like 5 of most tournaments I would go to, as well as having like a pretty successful stream too. I had secured, I think it was a 12th overall ranking in the worldwide power ranking in Smash 4. So I would say that was pretty much like the peak that I reached. And as far as Ultimate goes, I really haven't traveled much in Ultimate. My family was always supportive. I think at first, when it came to traveling out of state, it was like, you know, who are you going with? Who are these people? You know, like the typical thing. When they were introduced to like the people that I was hanging around and stuff like that, they were like, oh, these are like good kids, you know what I mean? And there was that trust there, and you know, that's just pretty much how it went. Interestingly enough, when I first started, I guess, branding myself as a streamer, I remember going on Twitch one day, and there was a streamer by the name of King Foon on the front page, and he had like over 1,000 viewers. And I remember his stream looked great. You know, he had like a green screen where he was like transparent background, which was pretty rare back then. And I remember asking him like, oh, what capture card do you use? Because I was still new to everything, so I was just trying to get the feel for like what equipment or streamer is using. He had answered me and said like, oh, I'm using like the X Capture or something from like, it's like a Japanese capture card. And I just remember just asking him stuff and having like a conversation, and I was like, wow, like this dude who like has all these followers, all these people in his chat, and he's like giving me the time of day to really entertain my questions. And you know, I was super young back then, and I was like, that's really awesome. You know, I didn't expect that. And I just remember thinking like, I want to be like that guy. You know, I want to have a really chill, interactive stream where I can just like talk to people. And it's pretty much like having a bunch of friends over. I'll say I've been on a hiatus from streaming, although I haven't really been on a hiatus from like entertaining. I just found it more relaxing to get into things like commentary and, you know, sharing my thoughts on a platform like that. So I'm still engrossed in esports, but when it comes to like my stream, I would say that the community and like my Twitter following, they're all just, you know, really chill people. I call them Lavender Town, you know, and that's kind of like where I go, where it's just like a really chill group of level-headed people. Commentary has always like been an interesting thing for me, because as a competitor, you have your own insight to a game, and I feel like on the mic you can really share with people, I guess, the fundamental aspects of the game and break down layers and really get people to see what separates, you know, the good players from the great players. And, you know, these are all stages that I've been through, and I feel as though sharing my thoughts on the mic might be valuable to some people. Just the entertainment lifestyle has a lot of paths, and I feel like sky's the limit. You know, whatever opportunities are there for me, I'll grab them, you know? And whether that's, gaming, streaming, that's always like the default is, Twitch, YouTube, just getting like content out there, as well as other outlets like commentary. And, the HyperX Arena actually had a lot of really good opportunities out there as well. So for instance, Wannabe, that's one of them, as well as a movie shooting with Mark Wahlberg that happened not too long ago that I was a part of as well. So, I mean, there's so many different avenues to be taken with entertainment. You can't really just stop at one, but if there was a comfort pick for me, I would just say gaming content on Twitch and YouTube. I would say one of my main goals for the next 5 years is to establish myself again as an entertainer on Twitch and YouTube. So gaming content, streaming, things like that. But also I really want to have a solid foundation where I am consistent and get picked up by an esports organization as like a content creator. And that could really be on anything. Like I'm kind of interested in mostly like NA orgs like C9, 100 Thieves, FaZe, like anything like that. Being picked up by like a content team would be awesome. Yeah, I think I have what it takes to get there. If there is advice that I would give to my younger self, it would be to take it easy, have fun, and stay focused.